Today on Two Decent Blocks.
But I'm just saying, hypothetically, if a woman that was small hit you, do you think you should hit her back even though you weren't hurt?
I absolutely think I should have the right to hit that lady back.
Well, let me ask you this, because you're restraining, you're talking about holding the wrist. Restraining could be a bear hug and telling her, you know what I'm saying? But if you
breaking down.
Y'all gotta let me finish.
Wait a second. Is the lead saying that you should hit the woman back when she hits you?
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's not good. That's unwise.
It is.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey, welcome to the Two Decent Vlogs. Today we have a video about self-defense. And we have the Lapeef Network talking about this topic. We're going to react, as we always do. Let's get into it.
Just not even getting into certain situations, especially as Black men, knowing certain things that could happen, things like that. Do you think it's okay if you as a man were not hurt? And I would never do it, so I'm not trying to advocate for people hitting, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if a woman that was small hit you, do you think you should hit her back even though you weren't hurt?
I absolutely think I should have the right to hit that lady back.
Even if you weren't hurt?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It cannot be the case that some 5'3" woman gets to run around and hit every 6-foot man. Like, what world are you living in? Just because you can't hurt, wait. Just because a woman is 5'3" and can't hurt a man over 6 foot means that she just gets to walk around and hit every single man willy-nilly?
No.
Well, there you go.
What are you saying?
So okay. So are you saying that it's men's duty to
Jesus Christ? Who said the word duty? Are you? Come on, Kay. Listen, Kay. I'm starting to see what people are talking about. No one said the word duty, but you. Like, you're putting words in my mouth. I said what I said.
I'm asking you. Do you?
Well, well, if you ask me then, but don't put words in my mouth when you ask me.
I said, do you think that it's a man's duty to put like a smaller woman in her place if she tries to hit him?
No.
It's her duty to keep her hands to herself.
Hold on, wait, because I don't want Kay to misunderstand what the lead was saying. Kay, the way you started with the question, you said, "Are you saying that it's a man's duty?"
Right.
Exactly, Rilla.
So that's a different question. That's why he was saying, "Don't put words in my mouth."
Thank you, Rilla.
That's a different way of asking. So you're saying,
like, Really and I are actually listening to the words that are coming out of your mouth, even if you're not listening to them. Like, I get very offended when people put words in my mouth because I choose my words. I choose my words precisely.
I feel you. I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth. I was saying, what do you think about that?
A man should have the duty to make sure that he is protected at all times, and should allow no one to just walk around willy-nilly hitting him, whether or not he feels subjectively or objectively that person can or cannot hurt him.
Hey, Lead, I have a question. I have a question. Let's just take the
let's just kind of talk about what we've already heard so far.
They ganged up on her.
On who? On Kay?
Yeah.
I mean, Kay always says stuff that just leaves people with a sour taste in their mouths, and she gets away with it. Now, she so happens to be a little more reserved now. Everybody, though, is not having it, though. Nonetheless, though, this concept of you should not beat a girl, where did this come from? How did we end up here? And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just trying to rationalize why the people maybe back in the day kind of had that as an unspoken rule, or that is conventional wisdom. Why would people say to men, you don't put your hands on a woman and we are going to give you brownie points as a man for taking that abuse if she still is, let's say, abusive to you physically or verbally? What do you think?
I think part of it is just because of the fact that it's an unmatched fight. I mean, so number one, if you're a man, you're more likely to win a fight when you're fighting a woman.
Yep.
So that's the first thing. So it's an unfair fight. It's the same reason why bullying is just largely condemned, because usually bullies are bigger, and older than the person that they are bullying, if it's physical bullying. And part of it we have to do with the fact that for a long time, um, there was there were more cases of domestic violence. So you have people who are married and the men are unhappy with their wives for whatever reason, and they're beating them up, sometimes to the point where they become physically incapacitated. So as social convention, maybe, from as a reaction to all those things, people just end up saying, you know what, for whatever reason, just don't beat up a woman. So that's part of it. And part of it could be the fact that when you do beat up a woman, the law itself would not treat you well. Wife beaters, women beaters are treated very harshly, even in cases where they were hitting back in self-defense for whatever reason. If you do it, the law is against you. And there are reasons why that is the case, because usually when a woman is beating a man, the physical damage that happens to the body of the man is negligible compared to what happens when the reverse happens. Not to say it's a good thing, but that consideration also matters.
So my question would be, though, if society is saying we want to protect the woman, because at least the stance, I think, from what I pick from what you're saying and from what I understand from why most people have adopted that as a stand, and that's a standard that society has set, is to protect the woman. Protecting the woman, would it not also be telling the woman not to provoke trouble, because we know you are weaker than what you're provoking?
Yeah.
We don't go around telling people, or we wouldn't go around telling a lion, hey, don't attack the person or don't attack this smaller animal because you are bigger and you can cause damage. But we also try to talk to the person whose best interest it is not to be attacked by the lion, to not go closer to the lion, to not provoke the lion. And that conversation, especially nowadays, I feel like women have it's almost like, oh yeah, you know what, like, because it's an unspoken rule and everyone agrees that you shouldn't do that, it means that they have the license to do what they ought to do. It's like, oh no, listen, as much as we don't want him putting his hands on you, you don't do anything to allow or to encourage it, because if it does happen, he can go to jail, but you can lose your life or you can be badly beaten.
Yeah, it has gotten to a point where I am remembering a situation when a child is spoiled. Like they know their parents are never going to let them say no, and they're never going to say no if they ask for candy for dinner, or they try to do things that they typically would not be allowed. So women, they know that most men will not hit back, and instead of taking that as a signal to say the reason why they're not allowed to hit back is because when they do hit back, it will be bad for you. They take it as a signal, okay, now I'm going to abuse this right, this power that I have. I'm going to walk around hitting women. I know of cases when most like women have actually like hitting their men regularly.
Yeah.
And the man is not hitting back, not because he can't fight physically speaking, but because he knows what happens. And also, if you remember the recent case of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, when she went to the police to say Johnny Depp was hitting me, nobody had a doubt that she was lying. People were just like, oh, Johnny Depp is kind of a douchebag. What a horrible thing to do. Until he fought back, legally speaking, and say, no, she was the one who was actually hitting me. And now he is suing her. So would you even imagine that a pretty girl like Amber Heard would hit like a husky dude like Johnny Depp? You wouldn't. And yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But
K is 5'3", you're 6'3", a whole foot, and she hits you. what, and you're like, well, you hit me, I should be able to hit you back. What about an alternative? And I'm just asking, of a restraint, since you're bigger, and grabbing her app and calling the police and saying she's right now hitting me. Come here and arrest her for assault, and having it legally on the books that she hits men.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
First of all, well, I'll take your second point first. First of all, no one cares that women hit men. When you say legally on the books that she hits
People
men,
laugh at
no
you.
one cares. She's not going to get punished for that. So that's not a deterrent at all. Second of all, if I restrain her, if I grab her wrist, there's going to be a mark.
You see, I get where the lead is getting at, but it's not entirely correct to say that no one cares. People do care. It's just that the consequences of a man beater and a woman beater are different. It's more severe if you're a man than if you're a woman. But the legal system certainly cares. Domestic violence is just not encompassing men to women. It's encompassing all kinds of domestic violence. So there are going to be legal consequences. They're just not going to be as bad.
Well, have you seen those videos where they run experiments of a woman physically being abusive to a man in public and vice versa?
Yeah, that's our society is wired that way for good reason too.
And
I wouldn't want it to be I wouldn't want there to be an equal response to something like that.
Well, the problem that we end up running into, Vincent, as far as these issues go, is when women or at least feel that security, just like anyone else. I'm not trying to imply this is a female problem, but like anyone else, once you know there is a buffer, there is a line the next party that I'm talking and negotiating with cannot cross, it has then made difficult interactions between men and women even more difficult. To say, if I'm talking to you and I start saying things that I know can get me punched, I can expect that punch. That regulates speech and behavior patterns. But you find the kind of institution they're talking about where a woman who's 5 foot will go up to a man who's 6 foot and say the most hurtful, disgusting things in his face and not even care that a punch is coming.
Not even step back.
That is what Bill Burr in some comedian stand-up, or if it was a podcasting, whatever episode was talking about, that the woman does not even think that there is a world in which a punch can come and hit me because of what I've just said. And that makes it very difficult for you to have a conversation with someone like that, especially if they are your wife too, which is where you cannot avoid talking to them that someone now can now abuse you because there is the line. So I don't know. Am I saying women should be beat? But I'm not saying that. But I'm saying them knowing that a punch could come could also regulate their behavior. How do we regulate that behavior without actually allowing that punch to come? Is the question maybe.
Here's a question for you, Dumi. How would you ensure that women will know that a punch will come?
If I had the answer to that problem, I probably would be a millionaire. I'm telling you right now, because I think it's a problem for a lot of men.
The only way to get women to understand that any man I provoke physically will punch me back is if men actually start punching back, which
is not an option in this case.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather much, if I'm being honest with you, live in this world where women just think I cannot be punched back than a world where they know they will get punched back. Because for them to get to that point where they know they will be punched back, it means a lot of jaws would have to be broken. Like, for example, if you look in some cultures, like in the Arabic cultures, in Muslim countries, you know, they actually sometimes have laws that you can beat up your wife with impunity and no consequences at all. There, I doubt if you find any female who tries to beat up their husband. It never happens. And the reason is because they know they can get beaten up easily for any reason.
Okay, well, let's back up, and I know we're now really getting off track in some way, but the thing I think we're probably not talking about here is the culture that actually makes men and female relations denigrate to that level or degrade to that poor of levels, to say it will only take physical force for a woman to behave. I think when we get there, we've already lost the war in some way. Now we're just trying to do crisis management. That will probably be, I think, a solution that is viable, to try to backtrack to get women to understand that this is my man and this is no way to dealing with my man. I guess that will be the only thing. Otherwise, when we are here, it's almost talking about abortion. We already have sucky solutions. You decide to keep the baby, then someone's life is probably going to go away they don't want to. But if you decide to take the baby away, then you are in some way doing, a very big, disservice to the person that could have been born. But the best answer would have been going back to saying, just don't indulge in unprotected sex. And I think that's kind of the situation we are finding ourselves in. Let's play.
So guess what? We're both going to jail.
Oh, you're
right?
super
So
strong.
I am protecting myself, restraining her, doing what you say I should do. And then when the cops show up and see my fingerprints on her wrist, we're both going.
But
and
it's
that's
the
the
flip
best case
side.
scenario. Because
So
what
then
she
what
could
should you do?
But hold on, Kay. Let him finish. Go ahead, lead.
what I'm saying is your solution is the best case scenario. What
Okay.
happens a lot of times is I could restrain her. The cops show up, they see bruises on her wrist, but they don't see any bruises on me. So now she's free and I'm going to jail.
Right.
And these same cops have probably been raised, especially down here in Georgia, under the assumption that men don't hit women regardless.
Yeah.
That's why it's all messed up on all different levels.
Well, let me ask you this, because you're restraining, you're talking about holding the wrist. Restraining could be a bear hug and telling her, you know what I'm saying?
Are
But
you serious?
if you,
You guys breaking down.
y'all gotta let me finish.
The
Y'all
bear
not
hug
let
thing
me-
threw me off.
Not let me talk. That was just
But the man is gonna protect. They're gonna protect themselves. If the woman out of control, they're gonna protect themselves. In the story.
Okay,
said bear hug.
please stop and let me talk.
All right, talk to me
Just
about the bear
stop.
hug.
Okay, so
Bro, listen. Do you see this tactic? Like, she clearly has no points. She said the first point, it was refuted. She's talking about bear hugs now, and you just kind of be like, I don't know what you think this is. This is kindergarten. And people are laughing. All these people are sitting here listening and giving you their time to talk. When people are coming out like this, I think this is me. When people are doing what they're doing now, you're not saying anything of substance. Now she's just getting annoyed that people are laughing at her. I can say this is now an ego thing. I think this is now an ego thing. She's just gonna keep talking for the sake of just talking.
not even. That's just an
No.
idea.
You-
Maybe,
Listen, you got mad because I cut you off at the bear hug. So fine, finish
Finish
your
your
point about
point.
the bear hug.
Finish it,
I'm
yeah.
sorry I cut you off at the bear hug.
I'm trying to finish a sentence.
Yeah, finish it.
So even with that, but if you hit her, being that you're a foot taller, you don't think that's going to be
Look
an
at
imprint
JR.
more than trying to constrain her, than fight her?
Wait a second.
And if she doesn't get anything,
Wait a second. Is the lead saying that you should hit the woman back when she hits you?
Yeah, that's what he said.
But that's not good. That's unwise.
It is.
I mean, why would you do that? You would not get out of prison.
There's plenty of reasons why you should do it. Does it mean you should do it though? No.
Yeah, you shouldn't do it. It's
No,
very
I'm asking.
stupid.
But do you hear what I just said?
Yeah, I did.
When you
I did,
say
yeah.
why would you do that, bro, I've seen videos upon videos.
No. So yeah, I heard what you said, that she can be very provocative. You can have reasons why you should hit her,
Yeah.
but there are equally
still-
as many reasons why you shouldn't.
You still
do it.
remember the Chris Rock joke about OJ?
No.
Oh, he said why did he do it? And he said, I'm not saying you should have done it, but I understand.
Yeah.
You haven't seen
So
it? Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Because to all those that don't know it, what he was probably just trying to say was the fact that his girl was out with another man and he was mad. And I can understand a man killing her and the man because he's angry. But should he have done it? Maybe not. But I understand why he did it.
Like in this case, if your girl hits you, right, you tell her to leave your house, take her bags, and leave.
I know everybody is as measured as you are, bro.
What?
I'm saying not everybody's as measured as you are, but they should at least try to be.
You see, that's what the law does. It's supposed. You see, it's against vigilantism. There is self-defense, then there is vigilantism. In a domestic dispute, a man self-defending is vigilantism.
Why would you say that?
Because when you do, like, let's say your girl hits you, like, girls can't throw punches unless they are UFC fighters.
Bro, I've seen girls with knives. No, listen.
Yeah, they can do that. They can throw weapons and so on. But really speaking, like generally, there's very limited damage that she could do to you physically. Okay. You punch her just once, she lights out. She's gone.
Vincent, let me just say this, Vinny. You're blessed to live in a country like where you stay in Europe. I'm not gonna just dox you out here like that, but in the United States of America, some stuff does go down. There's women that will come out, either burn your clothes or slash your tires or your windscreen, do something like that. That will just make you very, very angry. Yeah. To say that most men that, and I mean, once you are with a woman that does that, I think the responsibility is already on you as the man. You shouldn't have been with a woman that does that. But there are situations that can push someone's patience to a point where the thought of saying I will walk away is not enough.
I get it, man. I get it. People get angry. Are you saying that, okay, there's anger that will cause other people to commit murder?
Exactly.
The judge will not say, you know what? You're very angry. You can go home now.
You get the whole
That's
book.
What I'm saying. That
you get the whole book.
You have to, as a grown man, you have to be measured. What violence can your girl do to you that will make you say, you know what, this is it, punch? That's just being impulsive. You have to be measured as a man. You can't hit her just because the consequences for you are going to be much worse, and you don't need that kind of trouble. Tell her to leave. It's over.
No, that is the best solution. Yeah, that's the best solution. Seriously, I'm not saying what you're saying does not make any sense, but what I'm saying is emotions, when people get to be in that position, are not always reliable, and they don't always make you do things that after that you just be like, oh, why did I do that? But I can perfectly understand that. I can perfectly understand that, especially with most of the guys that were raised in a culture of you have to defend yourself. Like, that's something about American culture that is insane, that people will try to even defend themselves. A police officer that is holding a gun that they know has the full force of the law to either kill them, but that's just how the culture is. They pride standing up for themselves very much, to a point that I can see situations like that going to a point where a guy is just going to be like, you do this, you cross that line, I will do something to you.
You can be right and still go to prison.
Yeah, definitely.
On her. Well, no, you don't get anything on her because she's not strong enough to do any kind of bruise on you, but you're able to bruise her when you fight her, and the police come. Who getting arrested? The police, when they come, they're looking at who is more messed up.
There's no telling.
There's
no telling what's going to happen.
No. Yeah.
Situational.
It's not. When the police come, they examine the woman, they examine the man, and they see who is more battered.
Okay, what's your point that you're trying to make?
I'll tell you my point. My point is you. When Lee said, well, I'll get arrested because of me restraining her and holding her hands. My thing is, you're going to get more arrested if you're fighting her and she has a black eye.
Courtney, there's no such thing as more arrested. That's like being more pregnant. You can't be more pregnant.
It's not
pregnant or you're not. Courtney, come on. You're
Okay,
taking these long soliloquies. You don't want people to cut
I'm
you off.
not.
But
I'm
then
giving legit
even JR was like, I
scenarios.
don't understand what you're saying. No one's you're saying more arrested.
Courtney,
That
are
doesn't
you
make any
Okay.
sense.
All
I'm
right.
giving.
All right. Pause
Are
it a
you
There's
little
no
saying-
bit.
such thing.
Pause it a little bit. I think it's just semantics. I'll play God's advocate here. What she was trying to say is the consequences will be worse for a man
Yeah.
than for a woman. Now, and I guess the lead knows it. I mean, more arrested. Come on, give
More
her a break.
arrested.
They are straw manning here now, which is the kind of argumentation that I despise. Argue
No.
against somebody's solid points.
Well, she is taking time. I think that's probably the biggest issue here. Like they've lost patience because she's just, so I can tell probably that's why they're not really listening to her actual points. They're just picking words out and just then running with
Yeah,
that.
that's
But I think, I mean, we can stop reacting here. I think the whole issue has kind of really been laid out there. Um, I think it really puts you in a very bad place to hit women. It should never be something you should do. It should never be a resort you should actually have. Once, if I was to advise men,
honestly, even hitting another guy,
yeah.
you should never have a relationship that devolves into physical violence like that.
I'll tell you this, Vinny. I pride myself on this in some way. I've found myself in certain areas where probably I'm being provoked, but rarely do I really turn to being violent, and I think it's a measure of your ability to measure up situations, see risks and stuff to not be in those situations. But when you do find yourself in there too, then you really still need to find a way to control your emotions as a man.
Yeah.
And not do something impulsive that will derail your whole life. I mean, we are trying to keep it pushing, especially as young men. Going into jail is really faltering. If you were playing Monopoly, it's going to jail. Literally, like it's taking a punishment that will probably be very hard to bounce back from. So that would be my my final thoughts on that. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I'm good.
So, what do you think? Do you think that women should, because I mean, when we talk of equality, that is equality. You wanted equality to be treated like a man. You say something ridiculous and you do something as ridiculous as start a fight with a man, you get hit back like a man. Or you think, well, we should want equality, but certain things are still, we're supposed to at least treat women like women. What do you think? Echo, whatever, give us your feedback in the comment section. Like, subscribe. The two decent blogs are out. Thank you.